Millionaire discovers housekeeper and her daughter sleeping on cold floor. What he learned will change everything. Jack Thompson stepped through the grand entrance of his sprawling mansion, a blend of modern luxury and elite style. He'd just returned from another whirlwind business trip, fresh off sealing a monumental tech deal. The forecasted rain didn't faze him, neither did the oppressive heat of the Silicon Valley summer. He cracked a smile, imagining the celebratory gala awaiting him that evening. As he walked through the opulent hallways, adorned with priceless art, he didn't notice the shadows lurking in his pristine world. He made his way to the attic, a rarely visited part of his home. All at once, his heart dropped. There, curled up on the cold floor, lay Maria, his housekeeper, and her small daughter, Sophia. They were bundled together in a thin blanket. The image pierced Jack's soul with a shocking clarity. He felt the weight of his fortune pressing down as his luxurious possessions became meaningless against the backdrop of their poverty. Winced at the uncomfortable reality, Jack stood frozen, overwhelmed with guilt. The American dream had been so vivid in his mind: build, succeed, enjoy. But how could he reconcile his success with this hidden truth? Maria, with her worn hands and gentle smile, had worked tirelessly in the shadows. He felt a knot forming in his chest, one that he could no longer ignore. He stepped closer, careful not to disturb their fragile peace. The sight broke him. How could he have lived in such bliss, oblivious to the struggles right under his nose? He took a deep breath, determined to make things right. His first instinct was to help, to throw money at their problems. "I can fix this," he murmured to himself. The next day, with the sting of yesterday still fresh, he rushed to put together a financial package for Maria, thinking how this would change everything for her and Sophia. But when he presented it, her eyes filled with confusion and hurt. To her, it wasn't just a simple offer, it felt like a cold transaction, stripping away her pride. She thanked him quietly, but Jack could sense the chasm between them widening, shadowed by misunderstanding. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. In the days that followed, Jack found himself grappling with intense emotions. He felt embarrassed that his good intentions had backfired and angry at the wall between their worlds. But slowly, genuine empathy began to blossom within him. He started visiting the inner city, learning about the struggles Maria faced. Every interaction was a slice of reality, raw and eye-opening. Yet, just when he thought he could connect, a local community gathering thrust him into the spotlight. His wealth and background divided the crowd, igniting discussions around privilege and responsibility. Jack felt the pressure mounting, his intentions questioned at every turn. Amidst the clashing voices, Jack realized he was at a turning point. The more he tried to extend a hand, the more disconnected he felt. He stood at the edge of a cliff, balancing between his privileged life and the raw struggles of Maria and Sophia. Would he find a way to forge a true connection, or would his efforts slip into another layer of misunderstanding? As he pondered what to do next, the answer lay just beyond his reach, tinged with promise yet weighted by uncertainty. Would this journey redefine not just his life but transform the very fabric of the American dream? Jack stood in the center of the crowded community hall, surrounded by faces filled with skepticism and suspicion. The air buzzed with tension, the voices rising and falling like waves crashing against a jagged shore. For the first time, Jack felt exposed and vulnerable, stripped of his armor of wealth and status. A woman near the front spoke up, her voice cutting through the chatter. "What do you know about our struggles, Jack? You walk in and think money can fix everything." Her words stung like a slap, and he could see others nodding in agreement. The anger and frustration in the room were palpable. It was a stark contrast to the world he occupied just hours ago. Jack's mind raced. He had always thought of himself as compassionate, a guy who worked hard and rose to the top. Yet the more he tried to speak about wanting to help, the deeper the divide grew. "I'm trying to understand," he began, his voice trembling slightly. "I want to learn from you, to listen. I don't want to impose." A man chimed in, "Then why did you throw money at Maria?" That's not understanding, that's treating her like a charity case. Jack felt his heart sink. The accusation resonated, hitting him in his most vulnerable spot. He opened his mouth to respond, but the words wouldn't come. He hadn't realized that his well-meaning gesture had stripped Maria of autonomy, leaving her feeling small and unseen. After the meeting, Jack stepped outside into the cool evening air, a stark contrast to the heated debate that swirled in his mind. He leaned against the brick wall of the building, the lights illuminating the muddy sidewalks. What did it truly mean to help? Was it about the money or something deeper? The clang of a bell nearby snapped him back to reality, and a heavy sigh escaped his lips. He glanced down at his phone and saw a message from Maria, a simple "Can we talk?" The request felt like a lighthouse amidst the storm. Jack's heart raced with hope and anxiety as he responded quickly, "Yes, of course. Whenever you're free." Later that night, as he paced the sprawling mansion, Jack's mind drifted back to Sophia, Maria's daughter. The cute little girl with the big brown eyes. The one who had brought so much joy into his otherwise lonely home. If money couldn't fix the situation, what could? He didn't want to just play the role of the wealthy benefactor, he wanted to connect with them, to earn their trust and respect. As the clock struck midnight, the rain started pouring down, a chaotic symphony against the windows. Jack looked out, lost in thought. Maybe he needed to truly step into Maria's world. Maybe he could start by offering his time, rather than his wallet. The idea struck him as both terrifying and exhilarating. He felt a glimmer of excitement, a sense of purpose tinging the edges of his anxiety. Tomorrow, he would invite Maria and Sophia to spend a day with him. They could visit the places where they lived their lives, interact with the community, and share their stories. He would learn from them, not just act, but just as he felt a sense of determination settling in, another thought washed over him. Would Maria be willing to let him in? Would she ever see him as more than just a millionaire with guilt or a potential benefactor? The questions lingered, heavy in the air, waiting for answers that felt just out of reach. Jack took a deep breath, preparing for whatever was to come. Would this chance to build a bridge lead to genuine connection, or would it just drive them further apart? The next morning came, gray and damp, draped in a thick mist that curled around Jack's mansion like a shroud. He awoke with an electric surge of hope, yet the weight of doubt still clung to him. Maria's simple message echoed in his mind, challenging him to step outside his carefully crafted life. Today was a pivotal moment, a chance to rewrite his narrative, and he could feel the adrenaline coursing through his veins. That he dressed quickly, barely noticing the expensive suit he pulled on. Instead, his mind raced ahead to the day's plan. He envisioned Maria and Sophia laughing, sharing stories, perhaps even opening up about their worries and dreams. If he could help them feel comfortable, maybe they'd see the real Jack, not just the man with deep pockets. Jack arrived at the small apartment complex where Maria lived at the edge of the city, the urban sprawl creeping in like vines. As soon as he stepped inside, the world outside faded away. The hallway smelled of warmth and home, even if the space itself showed signs of wear, the paint peeling, the floors creaking, a testament to a life lived and struggled. He knocked gently on the door, his heart thudding against his ribs. The sound echoed in the stillness, and moments felt like an eternity. Just as he began to think of turning back, the door creaked open, and Maria stood before him, surprise flickering across her features. "Jack," she said softly, hesitantly stepping aside. "You came." "I hope it's okay," Jack replied, forcing a smile. "I wanted to see you and Sophia. I thought maybe we could spend the day together." Maria's expression turned cautious. "You don't have to do this, you know. I appreciate your help with rent, but I want to," he interrupted gently. "This isn't about charity. I just want to learn and connect. I hope that's okay with you." The tension in the air melted slightly as she searched his eyes for sincerity. It was then she nodded, albeit slowly. All right. As they stepped inside, Jack was struck by the sight of Sophia, her small figure curled up on a makeshift bed, a worn-out blanket spread thin over the cold, wooden floor. She blinked up at him with wide, innocent eyes, and Jack felt something in his chest tighten. This was the reality a child struggling to find comfort. "Hi, Sophia. I hope you're ready for a fun day," he said, squatting to her level and offering a big smile. She grinned back, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Are we going somewhere?" she asked, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her pajama shirt. "Yes," Jack exclaimed, his enthusiasm genuine. "We're going to explore the city together. You can show me your favorite spots. How does that sound?" Maria watched silently, a blend of appreciation and skepticism flitting across her face. But before she could respond, Sophia's face lit up bright as the sun. "Can we go to the park? There's a swing set I love." "Yes, the park it is," Jack said, his heart swelling at her excitement. As they made their way down the bustling streets, Jack followed closely behind, keeping an eye on the two of them. Walking next to them felt different. No longer was he the wealthy benefactor. He was just a guy trying to connect with a mother and daughter. Each step forward shifted something inside him, revealing layers he hadn't noticed before, but doubt tugged at him still. Would this simplistic day be enough to bridge the chasm he had unwittingly created? As laughter bubbled from Sophia, the warmth of the moment began to fill the spaces of uncertainty. Jack sought Maria's eyes, an unspoken question hanging heavy between them. Would she start to trust him? Just then, a familiar face appeared in the distance, someone from the community who had been part of that heated meeting. Jack felt his stomach drop. Would this person's presence shatter the fragile moment they were sharing? Jack's heart raced as he recognized the man approaching. The striking figure of Adam, a local activist who had fiercely opposed Jack's latest development project, seemed to cut through the laughter like a knife. There was no escaping the tension that hung in the air, twisting like a storm cloud. "Jack!" Adam called out. His voice boomed, resonating around the street as he approached, bringing a flood of curious glances from passers-by. Jack felt a rush of anxiety. This was the last thing he wanted being seen here, associated with Maria and Sophia, mingling with the very people his development plans threatened. Maria's expression shifted immediately, tension seeping back into her features. Jack could feel her stiffening beside him as Adam drew closer. Jack took a breath, forcing a smile on his face, hoping to diffuse the budding discomfort. "Hey, Adam. How's it going?" Jack replied, keeping his tone light, faltering only slightly. Adam's gaze shifted between Jack and Maria, scrutinizing. "What are you doing here, Jack? I thought you were too busy making money to care about the community." Jack opened his mouth, ready to defend himself, to explain he wasn't just a suit with cash, but Maria's wary glance silenced him. She seemed to shrink, her world narrowing around her as she stood beside him. He realized he didn't want to be part of a confrontation. "Not today. I came to see Maria and Sophia," Jack said, his voice as steady as he could manage. "We're just spending some time together." Adam crossed his arms, skepticism evident in his eyes. "Right. Just playing the Good Samaritan. Doesn't that feel a bit disingenuous?" Jack felt frustration bubbling up. Sometimes reaching out is just that, reaching out. "No strings attached," he insisted gently, but the words felt hollow against the weight of Adam's judgment. Sophia stood behind them, oblivious to the tension, glancing up at Jack's face with a hopeful look. "Are we going to the park now?" In that moment, the fragile bond they had begun to build hung in the balance. Jack could feel Maya's fear through her silence, the protective instincts igniting in her. He couldn't fade into the background now, he had to stand firm against the storm that Adam represented. "That's the plan. I promised." Jack sought eye contact with Maria, hoping to share a silent reassurance, but she looked away, biting her lip. Adam's laugh pierced through the air. You think taking a couple of kids to the park changes anything? This isn't just a game of pretend, Jack. Look at the real issues. You're right, Jack shot back suddenly, feeling a raw urgency. It's not a game. I'm here because I want to do better. I want to be better. For them. The abruptness froze the moment. Sophia regarded both adults with wide eyes, her small world growing heavier with every exchange. Maybe some good intentions don't come from money, Adam said, his tone slightly softer but still laced with doubt. Just remember, when the dust settles, people will define you by your actions, not your words. With that, Adam tilted his head and walked past them, leaving behind an echo of unease. Jack turned to face Maria, ready for her reaction, and he found her looking a little lost, as if she were grappling with his commitment. Are you sure about this? She whispered, hesitation lacing her every word. Jack took a deep breath, the earlier sense of excitement dampened but not extinguished. Yes. I'm sure. As they headed towards the park, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a soft glow over the path ahead. Jack felt a flicker of hope igniting but couldn't shake the feeling that another storm might linger nearby, one born from doubts and judgments. He had taken a step forward, but would it be enough? What kind of man would he be if he couldn't change the hearts of those around him? In the distance, the swing swayed in the gentle breeze, calling for laughter, but deep inside, Jack knew the real test was just beginning. Jack tried to push down the knot of anxiety in his stomach as they walked towards the park. The laughter of children echoed in the distance, but all he could hear was Adam's voice, people will define you by your actions. That thought rattled around in his mind like a stone in a can, nagging at him with every step. Maria kept glancing back at Sophia, who was now skipping ahead, oblivious to the adult conflicts swirling behind her. Jack admired how little the girl seemed to be affected by the tension, how her innocent joy was a pocket of sunshine in an otherwise cloudy day. But he was losing sight of that joy. The doubts, insecurities, and the weight of Adam's judgment loomed large. Jack. Maria's voice broke through his thoughts, now softer, almost hesitant. He turned to find her watching him. What you said back there, it was brave. His heart warmed at her words, but an anxiety surged with them. I don't want to be seen as just some guy in a suit anymore. I want to do right by this community. Maria nodded, her expression searching his face. It's just, change takes time. You can't rush it. After today, I plan to stick around. He forced a smile. Maybe I'll even help organize some events for the kids. Maria raised an eyebrow, a slight smile creeping onto her lips. You'd be surprised how much groundwork that takes. Oh, I totally believe it. Jack chuckled nervously. The two exchanged a tentative smile, a flicker of understanding flashing between them. They reached the park entrance, and the scent of freshly cut grass mixed with the sound of children playing washed over him like a wave. Jack felt a little lighter. Sophia darted toward a colorful playground set, her laughter ringing like music. See? This is good, Maria said, looking fondly at her daughter. Just look at her. Jack watched as Sophia climbed the play structure, her tiny silhouette bright against the sky. Yet beneath his smile, another layer of worry settled. Was this enough? What if today was just a drop in a bucket? Want me to take a photo? Maria suggested, appearing behind him with her phone out. Yes, please. He smiled genuinely this time. Let us capture this moment. As she focused on Sophia swinging high, Jack's heart swelled with a mix of hope and uncertainty. He yearned to tell Maria everything, the truth about his struggles, the doubts plaguing him, even how he was fighting to be more than what people expected. Instead, he settled on silence, wanting this moment to breathe. Okay, let us see, Maria said, turning the screen towards him. Her eyes sparkled with encouragement as she handed the phone over. Jack studied the picture, the sunlight dancing in Sophia's hair, her grin so wide it could bridged any gap. She's beautiful, he said, as warmth enveloped him. All he wanted was for Maria and Sophia to be happy. It had to be more than just a few hours in the park. Just then, he noticed a figure lingering at the park's edge, silhouetted against the sunlight. His heart sank when he recognized Adam, arms crossed and face a mask of skepticism. "Jack, can we talk?" Adam called out, his demeanor pulling Jack back into that storm cloud. "Now." Jack's voice wavered, but he couldn't ignore the challenge in Adam's eyes. "Yeah, now," Adam replied, stepping closer, a determined look etched across his face. Jack glanced over to Maria, who looked concerned. "I'll be right back," he said, though uncertainty wrapped around him. As he walked towards Adam, a familiar tension coiling in his stomach, Jack questioned whether he was stepping forward into growth or right back into the chaos he had hoped to escape. What would Adam say? Would this conversation tear down the fragile peace he'd been building with Maria and Sophia? He took a deep breath, mentally bracing for what came next. The real test had arrived. Would he be able to stand up not only for himself but for the family that was slowly starting to mean so much? Jack stepped toward Adam, heart thumping in his chest. The calm of the park was suddenly shattered by the weight of their past conversations. Adam approached him like a storm, intense, unwavering, and filled with a palpable pressure. "Why do you want to stick around, Jack?" Adam's voice was low, but it cracked against the backdrop of laughter and squeals. "Is it because of Maria, or the community you think you can save?" "I want to do more than just wear a suit and patrol this place," Jack replied, trying to keep his own voice steady. "It's not just about showing up, it's about being part of it. I care." Adam scoffed, the sound echoing over the playground. "Caring isn't enough. You think that just because you want to play hero, it'll all work out? You don't know what these people have gone through. Then help me understand." Jack shot back, a fierceness rising in his chest. "I'm asking you to be part of this too. If I'm not enough, if you don't see me as genuine, tell me what I can do to prove it." A flicker of surprise crossed Adam's face. Jack held his breath, hoping this challenge would break through Adam's skepticism. For a moment, silence fell between them, the laughter of children distant but idyllic in contrast to their conversation. Finally, Adam's expression shifted slightly, softening just enough for Jack to feel the tiniest glimmer of hope. "You think it's just about proving yourself? It's about building trust, Jack. You can't rush that. People need to see your dedication over time." The words hung between them, laden with both weight and possibility. Jack felt every beat of his heart, pulsing with the urgency of wanting to do things right this time around. "I'm committed, and I want to show that. Not just for Maria and Sophia, but for everyone who needs help. Talk is cheap." Adam crossed his arms tighter, but this time there was a hint of curiosity in his eyes. "What are you prepared to sacrifice?" With a deep breath, Jack recalled the dream he'd held onto so tightly. "I'm prepared to give up my job if that means making a real difference here. I don't want to just watch from a distance, I want to dive in and work alongside the community." There was a flicker of hesitation in Adam's gaze. "You know that's a risk, right? If you dive in and it doesn't work out, they might not give you a second chance. And if I don't dive in at all?" Jack challenged, staring directly into Adam's dark eyes. "If I let fear dictate my actions, then I'll always be that guy in the suit." Adam sighed, letting the tense energy between them shift. The wind rustled through the trees, and for a moment, they stood together, caught between their past and an uncertain future. "I'll think about it," Adam finally said. Jack felt a warmth spread through him, one small step toward the goal he'd longed for. "That's all I ask." As Jack turned to return to Maria and Sophia, the joy of the park enveloped him again. He found Maria kneeling by the swings, Sophia beaming beside her. But even as one weight lifted, another settled. Would Adam's acceptance be enough to foster the bridge he desperately wanted to build with the community? Jack's heart raced, but so did his hope. He joined them, forcing a smile, but inside he pondered the reality that change wasn't simply about actions, it was about trust, and that, he realized, would take time. "Everything okay?" Maria asked, her voice filled with concern. Yeah, just a conversation, Jack replied, glancing back at Adam who had now retreated to the park's edge, still watching. Let us go play. Sophia shouted, tugging at his hand, pulling him back into the warmth of laughter. But in the depths of his heart, Jack knew this was just the beginning. The real work was ahead, and he was determined to take every step needed. Would the community respond to his efforts? Could he earn their trust and stand firm against the doubts threatening to pull him under? He needed to find out. And he needed to do it soon. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the park as Jack felt the warmth of Sophia's little hand in his. She pulled him toward the swings, her laughter a bright contrast to the inner storm whirling in his mind. Maria followed closely, her gaze soft, yet there was a flicker of concern in her eyes. Do you think Adam will really help us? Maria asked, her voice barely above the gentle rustle of leaves. Jack smiled, though uncertainty gnawed at him. I think he is starting to understand how much we care. That has to count for something, right? Sophia squealed as she reached the swings first. Come on, Daddy. Push me. He banished his worries for a moment and stepped forward to give her a gentle push. The joy radiating from her was infectious, and for a fleeting instant, Jack allowed himself to forget the weight of the world resting on his shoulders. His fingers brushed against Sophia's back, and he grinned as she soared higher. But just as Sophia reached the apex, the sound of laughter receded, replaced by the low hum of uncertain whispers from the nearby benches. Jack turned to see a few mothers winking at him, their smiles strained, as they exchanged glances with one another. You're still here, huh? One of them remarked, a hint of sarcasm lacing her words. Jack felt his heart sink. Yeah, just wanted to what? Play hero. She interrupted, her tone mocking. Must be nice to have the luxury of playing around here while the rest of us deal with the reality every day. He clenched his fists at his sides, his thoughts racing as memories of the past flooded back, the voices of those who had dismissed him all too familiar. It had always been easier to critique from the sidelines. Jack. Maria's voice cut through his rising anger. Don't let them get to you. But how could he not? He was trying so hard to show he meant well, for her, for Sophia, and for the community. I have to prove myself. It's just why can't they see I'm trying? As he glanced back, he caught Adam in his peripheral vision. Adam stood on the outskirts, arms folded tight, watching with an intensity that urged Jack to stand firm. I think they just need more time to see it, Maria said, stepping closer. You can't rush trust. I know. But Jack inhaled deeply, weighing the goal against the resistance. I can't keep letting fear dictate my actions. I want more than just to exist here. Then keep showing up, Maria encouraged, a quiet determination in her voice. Every little bit helps. Focus on what we can do. Sophia jumped off the swing with a triumphant shout. I want to try that big slide. She declared, pointing to a structure in the distance. That looks a bit steep, Jack hesitated, but Maria was already smiling, gently nudging him to follow. Let us do it, Jack, she said with a twinkle in her eye. Sophia won't let you hide behind worry. As they walked together, Jack felt the flicker of hope reignite. With each step, he found courage stirring inside him. Maybe trust was built not through words, but through those small moments of shared laughter, joy, and determination. Sophia darted ahead to the slide while Jack and Maria exchanged a knowing glance. Together, right? Maria asked, their shoulders brushing against one another, a subtle pact forming between them. Together, he agreed, a smile breaking through the fog of tension. As they prepared to ascend the tower of the slide, Jack felt that familiar rush of purpose thrum in his veins. But in the back of his mind, the question remained, did he have what it took to sustain this commitment? And what would that truly cost him? Jack steadied himself at the base of the slide, adrenaline mixing with doubt. Would he succeed in winning over the community before it was too late? And what would come next if he did? Jack stood at the foot of the slide, watching Sophia climb. Her little feet scampered up the steps, her laughter ringing out above the chatter of the park. The sight brought a rush of warmth to his heart, yet doubt coiled tightly in his stomach. What if he didn't have what it took to be the father and community member everyone needed? Come on, Daddy. You're gonna miss it. Sophia's voice snapped him from his thoughts, and he finally started up the ladder behind her. Just taking it slow, he called back, but the truth was, his heart raced with uncertainty. By the time he reached the top, Sophia was bouncing with excitement, her eyes alight like stars. She turned to him, that innocent joy pulling him closer to the edge of bravery. He took a deep breath, and for a moment, the world below fell away. The tension, the hovering eyes, the whispers, it all faded. Ready? He asked, even though he knew the answer. Yes. She squealed, and without hesitation, she pushed off, shooting down the slide with gleeful abandon. Jack's heart soared as he watched her laughter echo in the air. Encouraged, he launched himself down after her, his adult worries hurtling away like a distant memory. They landed in the grass in a heap of giggles, and for a few crispy moments, everything felt right. Sophia wriggled out from under him and stood tall, a triumphant grin plastered across her face. I did it. Look at me. You sure did, superstar. Jack shouted back, his heart swelling with pride as he joined her on her feet. Maria approached, her expression brightening upon witnessing their joy. See? This is what it's all about, she said, flashing him a knowing smile. Yet before he could bask in the warmth, he caught sight of Adam, lingering at the edge of the playground. He was still watching with those penetrating eyes, and Jack felt a shift in the air. Was it pride or skepticism, the same old doubt that seemed to trail him relentlessly? Hey, let us try it again. Sophia tugged at Jack's hand, pulling him back toward the stairs. She was irresistible, a pocket of laughter ready to infect the whole park with her exuberance. With every climb and every slide, Jack felt himself loosening, gaining more confidence but also feeling the pull of his responsibilities and their weight creeping back. He exchanged a glance with Maria, and suddenly he wanted more than just a moment. He wanted to build something sustainable, to make a real change. That he slid down once more, but when he reached the bottom, the laughter caught in his throat as he noticed the same mothers still watching, their eyes narrowed, eyebrows raised. Their whispers resumed, like a current he couldn't seem to escape. Isn't he a little too comfortable? One murmured, and another chimed in, does he really think this is enough? Frustration boiled in him. He wanted to scream that he was trying, that he was more than this fleeting joy, that damning their words wouldn't drive him to despair. Daddy, look! Sophia's excited shout shifted his focus again. She was climbing a different playground structure, her tiny body swaying confidently. Maria stepped closer, her brow furrowed as she sensed the brewing storm inside him. Ignore them, Jack. Show them your heart through action, not just words. He took a steadying breath, clenching his fists. You're right, but will that really be enough for them? For Adam? For you? Let us not let fear overtake us. It's about how we build trust. Every moment counts, she whispered, and he could see the conviction behind her eyes. Jack turned back to Sophia, who was now at the top of a slide, beaming down at him. That innocence fueled him. Okay, he said quietly. Together, we'll figure this out. As they called Sophia back down for one more slide, Jack felt a crack forming in the heavy wall of his doubt. But just as hope skittered into his heart, his phone vibrated in his pocket. Hesitant, he pulled it out and saw the name flashing on the screen, Megan, the manager from work. What could she want? And would it change everything once again? Jack's heart raced as he stared at the name on his phone. Megan rarely called him. It felt like a lifetime ago since they had talked about anything other than work. He hit accept with a heavy thumb, bracing himself for whatever news she had. Jack. Her voice came through, bright but edged with urgency. I'm so glad you picked up. I need to talk to you about an important project. He glanced at Sophia, joyfully clambering up the playground equipment, and felt a pang. He wanted nothing more than to be present with her, to enjoy these moments without interruption. Now isn't great time, Megan. I know, but it's about funding for the community initiative. The board is meeting, and we need to push for resources. Jack's heart sank. The very project he had been low-key skeptical about, the one that felt like a distant dream amid his doubts, now seemed to loom larger than ever. I can't really focus on that right now. Is this about your little girl? She interrupted. He could picture her raising an eyebrow, her tone shifting slightly. She could sense the inner battle he was having. Look, you're doing a great job as a father. But if we don't take this chance, it might slip away. You can't let your fears keep you from what's possible. He wanted to object, to drown in the comfortable routine of his fears. But Sophia's laughter broke into the background, a sound so pure, and he felt himself softening. Maybe his life could be more than just moments of joy at the park. Maybe there was a chance to build something for Sophia beyond themselves. Okay, what do you need from me? Jack's voice held a hint of resolve, surprising even him. Great. I need you to present the project at the board meeting next week. Can you handle that? He could already feel doubt creeping back in. Present to the board? Have you seen the faces there? They already think I'm just a stay-at-home dad, trying to play community leader. You're more than that. You know the community better than anyone. Level with them. Make it personal, show them what this really means. Jack swallowed hard, glancing back at Sophia. Her small hands gripped the edge of the slide, her eyes squinting in anticipation of the next ride. Fine, I'll think about it. Good. Remember, we're in this together. You're not alone, Megan reassured that as Jack ended the call, he found himself still watching Sophia, who was now sliding down again, each descent punctuated with squeals of delight. Maybe he could harness that joy not just for her, but for all the kids in their community. With a newfound energy, he felt the spark of a plan igniting inside of him. Come on. He called out to Sophia, waving her back to him. Let us have one more run. But then, I've got something special to tell you. She shot down the slide and darted toward him, her face a perfect mixture of excitement and curiosity. Tell me, Daddy. What is it? She beamed. Jack took a breath, recalling Maria's words about building trust. We're going to make things better for everyone, Sophia. We just have to show them we can do it. Sophia's expression shifted to one of pure determination. Can I help? I want to help. Yes, you can. Together, we're going to make a difference. But as they stepped away from the playground, the heavy whispers of doubt still loomed like shadows behind them. Could he truly rise to the occasion and prove himself? Jack's heart thudded as an unexpected thought struck him. What if he failed? And just when he thought they could leave the fear behind, he caught sight of Adam again. The man had moved closer, his focus solely on Jack now. The challenging look in his eyes carried questions Jack wasn't sure he was ready to answer. Are you really going to take a chance, Jack? He thought he heard Adam's eyes asking. Jack squared his shoulders, holding Sophia's hand tightly in his. Yes. This time, I will, he whispered to himself, igniting a flicker of hope that broke through the doubt, but would it be enough? As they turned to leave the park, the question hung heavy in the air. Jack had an idea, but the response from his community would determine everything. What lay ahead was unknowable, but he was ready to move forward. The real question remained, was he prepared for the battle that awaited him? Days turned into weeks, and the sunlight spilled through Jack's mansion windows with renewed warmth. Although his journey had just begun, each morning brought with it a promise, a commitment to stay connected with Maria and Sophia and the community they called home. Jack felt different. There was a new energy coursing through him. After that park day, he threw himself into the heart of the community. With every meeting, every shared story, he peeled back layers of fear and resistance. He reconnected with Maria, who brought her quiet strength to every conversation, teaching him the true meaning of resilience. One evening, after another meeting filled with local voices and dreams of change, Jack invited the group over to his mansion. They gathered around the plush living room, surrounded by opulence that felt foreign now. The bright colors of laughter and urgent discussion sparkled against the backdrop of his wealth. "Welcome to my home," he began, the words a gentle openness beneath the weight of the plush surroundings. "This is your home too. Let us build something together." The faces that looked back at him varied between curiosity and skepticism, but Jack welcomed it all. Maria stood at his side, her steady presence a lifeline. As he talked about ideas for community projects, he caught Sophia darting around the corner, her laughter ringing bright as she chased an imaginary monster. In that moment, she embodied the innocence Jack fought to protect, both inside and outside the mansion. "I want to help," Sophia chirped as she joined the circle. The room's tension eased, crumbling under her infectious energy. One by one, the guests began to express their hopes, dreams, and hesitations. Stories flowed like water in a river, interconnected and genuine. "What can we do?" asked Adam, who had been observing intently. "Words are easy but actions those paint the real picture." "Exactly," Jack replied. "I want to invest more than just my money, I want to invest my time and my heart." That struck a chord. The room buzzed with ideas, a community becoming more than the sum of its parts. The collective excitement made Jack's heart swell. They started planning fundraisers, sports leagues, community gardens, and mentorship programs, each idea a stepping stone toward a new dream for all. The weeks turned into a beautiful blur of progress and connection. Jack found himself working side by side with Maria, planting, painting, dreaming. She became his confidant, guiding him through the stormy waters of doubt that still lingered from time to time, but it was Sophia who taught him most. With her unfiltered enthusiasm, she reminded him of the joy in small victories. Jack would catch her laughing as she played with neighborhood kids, her smile radiating a warmth that inspired everyone around her. "Look, Daddy. We're making the flower garden pretty," she cheered one afternoon, holding up a blossom she had planted herself. Jack knelt beside her, feeling a rush of pride coil around his heart. "You really are making a difference, sweetheart." But it was not only Jack who transformed, the community began to see him in a new light. Day by day, as he offered his hands and heart, whispers of doubt faded into conversations about potential and hope. They were building a bridge, one brick at a time. One crisp afternoon, the community center held an event to celebrate their achievements. Jack stood on a makeshift stage, his heart racing as he prepared to share his vision. "True change," he began, looking out at the dedicated faces, "is never about the money. It's about the people, about dignity, respect, and understanding. I am here to champion all of you, as you have championed me." A cheer rose from the crowd, a chorus of acceptance and purpose that resonated deep within him. Among the applause, he caught sight of Maria, her eyes shining bright with pride. In that moment, Jack saw the transformation laid bare, a tapestry woven through shared challenges and joys, each thread glimmering with love. The applause faded, and Jack stepped back into the audience. That night, with Sophia nestled asleep in his arms, he felt a powerful realization settle in his bones. This was the new American dream, built on connection, compassion, and shared freedom. Jack woke the next day filled with renewed purpose. He rolled out of bed, the sunlight illuminating his path forward. He gazed at the photo of Sophia on the wall, her face alive with joy, and he whispered softly, "Today is a new day. Let us keep moving forward." And as he stepped out to meet the challenges ahead, he felt the community behind him, a steadfast force pushing him onward. Great achievements awaited, and together they would face everything, one workday, one celebration, and one heart at a time. Now is your moment. Don't forget to subscribe immediately to catch our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm with your support. I want to hear your reactions, so comment below with your feelings about this ending. And let us spread these inspiring transformations. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need this uplifting story in their lives. Don't wait, not even one more second, act now.